Next, we have the University of Texas at the Permian Basin, Ms. Sandra Woodley.
He tried to jump in line. Did you see that? Thank you very much for the opportunity to come and talk about the Permian Basin. First, I'd like to talk a little bit about the Permian Basin itself. I'm sure many of you know how important the Permian Basin is to Texas and to the nation and beyond. You know, the Permian Basin really is such an important part of our economy. It produced about $12 billion in revenue in just direct taxes alone. You know, the energy industry is so important there in the Permian Basin. It is expected to make up half of the U.S. oil production by 2030, just a few short years. So the University of Texas Permian Basin is important to that industry for one reason, and that reason is to produce the graduates that are needed for the workforce. Economist Ray Perryman recently finished a study in which he showed that we're going to need 190,000 new workers over the next 2 decades just to meet the workforce needs of those who are retiring and for the new jobs. About 38,000 of those will require a baccalaureate degree. University of Texas Permian Basin is the only comprehensive regional university right in the heart of the Permian Basin in Midland and Odessa, and our ability to meet workforce needs is just critical for the growth of this amazing energy industry that we all serve. So what are we doing about that? UT Permian Basin makes sure that we simplify admissions for our prospective students. We align our regional workforce needs to what's most needed. You know, we're expanding healthcare workforce, engineering, geology, making sure that college is more affordable for our students. And I think what's important to note about UTPB is we are the quintessential grow your own university. Most of our students come from within about 150 miles of the Permian Basin, and most of them stay and work. And so that value proposition of the university for providing that workforce really is our most amazing asset there in the Permian Basin. You know, our students are amazing. You know, we've been here for a couple of days. We've had the Chamber of Commerce leaders from Midland and Odessa here for the past couple of days. And we brought 10 of our amazing students here to mingle with the leadership and with many of you. You know, Patricia is finishing a finance degree. She raised 8 children. 3 of them were her biological children, and she took in other children. She's my age. She's 61 and working on her first finance degree. You know, April is there, a mechanical engineering, coming right out of high school to be a mechanical engineer. We have, you know, Dusty, who's very excited, coming in at 19, trying to, you know, be a special education teacher. All of the assets that our students bring to the table are really inspiring to me. And most of them aren't going to, you know, start as first-time, full-time freshmen and graduate. But they're going to graduate. And many of them have taken many years to get to that, and we're proud of our ability to do that. You know, the university has just, we served about 7,500 students last year, about 5,600 in the fall. But most of our students are not in the graduation rate cohort. They are coming from community colleges. They are stopping in. They are stopping out, and working really hard to try to find their way to become very high-performing citizens in our community, and I'm really proud of that. I want to respectfully request that you do take a look at the institutional enhancement and the base funding that the university has. You know, I spent about a decade as a CFO in 3 other university systems where I worked on funding formulas. That was what I did for a living for about 10 years. And there's no exact science to a funding formula, and it's very difficult to imagine one funding formula meeting the needs of all of the institutions. And I think institutions that are small like UTPB really become an outlier in any funding formula, making it really important that non-formula funding come in to help us to be able to produce the degrees that are needed here in the Permian Basin. And so I respectfully request that you take a look at the base funding and the institutional enhancement and the other requests that we have, knowing that we are the entity out there in the Permian Basin in the energy industry that will be needed to fill those jobs. I think when you think about UTPB, I hope you imagine, a little engine that could. You remember that that book, that we read to our children. We kind of feel like we're that little engine that could, and we're ticking our way up that mountain. And on the other side of the mountain is all of the jobs that will be needed for the energy industry. And we, need to be successful for all of you and for all of us. And I deeply appreciate all of the support that you do give our little engine that could. And I thank you very much. Happy to answer any questions.
It would seem to me that there wouldn't be a shortage of jobs in the Middle Odessa region.
No shortage of jobs. There's a shortage of workers. I think, and part of that, if I may say, is it's relatively low population area compared to the GDP that comes out of the Permian Basin. 8.1% of the state's GDP is generated right there, but we only have 1.6% of the population. So our university works really hard to grow your own and to make sure that the population that is there participates in higher education, and our participation is lower than in other areas. So meeting that workforce need is a real critical opportunity for us to fulfill our mission.
Thank you. There are no other questions.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have the University of Texas at San Antonio and the University